One reason we stopped singing was that we experienced physiological trauma and weren't really given the proper resources to deal with that. The other reason, though, was emotional trauma resurfacing. And resurface it did. Hi, hello, my name is Erin, and you're watching me try to find my singing voice. Again. We used to sing somewhat professionally. We got voice lessons aged 5 to 18, but we had to take a step back in the last couple of years because of both physical and mental health issues. This series is our attempt on working our way back to both singing skill and confidence. We debated including this part for a while. We're still unsure, to be honest. It's an integral part of our life, it being trauma healing, thus it should be an integral part of finding my voice again. I have clips from this practice day in summer in particular where things already just started out rough, with remembering the self-hatred we used to feel in singing class. Let's start there. I just remembered how we hated that. We hated it a lot. The mirror in singing lessons. We understood why we needed it, but we hated ourselves so fucking much we could not focus on the mirror and how it should help us, how seeing ourselves would help us. All we could focus on was how much we hated ourselves. We have DID, which for us in part means that we still are recovering many memories that we had to dissociate from because they are traumatic in nature. This was such a memory, yes, something as small and insignificant sounding as feeling intense self-hatred during singing lessons. We had dissociated from that fact, that memory. We didn't know about it, and it came back while practicing. An alter was triggered by us utilizing a mirror that day. And that day, and usually we deal with it by acknowledging the pain, letting the emotions exist, and then trying to move on. Emotions that couldn't be felt in the past, in the moment that they were happening, have to be felt at a safe point later in the future. Today is our safe afterwards. It's time to feel and experience the emotions. Yay! Also, I guess that's like us healing slogan. The Cliff Notes version for dealing with these types of emotional intrusions or experiences for us is: we name what is happening. Like, we name the experience, we name that we're dissociating, we name that we feel scared, anxious, whatever it is. So, very immediate, quick realization that the reason we don't do music anymore in the ways that we used to is because, oh shit, is that fucking triggering, eh? Feelings we weren't ready for. It's just repeatedly realizing that things used to be so terrifying for us all the time and we just couldn't feel it. Second thing we do is we do lots of deep breathing to try and stay grounded in reality and try to remind our nervous system that it's actually 2025 and we're okay and it's not the trauma anymore. This is a different situation. What we are experiencing that is distressing has already passed a long time ago. The third part, we let the parts that have the memory, the alters that have the memory, just share them. We believe that sharing and being validated in the experiences you're sharing is a big part of healing trauma, so we try to give that to ourselves as best as we can. I don't know, I just listened to the Julius Caesar concert overture by Schumann, and it is one of the first times, or the first time, that I actively listened to a classical piece with the partitur in front of me, following the thing as I go, writing down my notes as I used to in music class, because we actually loved doing that, but we don't do that anymore because I am now stuck in the past. I can talk about it and I can see this, but I'm And in an ideal situation, we could have then tried to do things like stimming to try to stay present in the now. But that day, that was not possible. We could not stay present. We were just dissociating and too far gone in the flashback to be able to fight it off and stay present. We got more and more dissociative until we got into a state where we couldn't really respond anymore. And that's, when we decided to stop, because what's the point here? And try to recover. This is the dreamlike state that we get when, is that why that? It's I know that these things are real life, but there's also so much memory replaying in my brain that I'm kind of just ignoring. Or just dissociating more, I don't know. And that's what it's like most of the time, actually. We try to do things, then a memory pops up that is traumatic, and then we have to spend the next couple hours trying to move past usually these crimes that happened to us that we just have to carry for the rest of our lives. We're disabled, mostly or partly also because of this, because every day we still dissociate to such a degree that we can't function anymore. We dissociate and then can't do anything more. We just freeze. We become so slow in our movement and thinking that nothing's going on anymore. And that happens because our brain thinks everything is overwhelming. Plus, the thing that helped us survive all these traumas, all these crimes, is dissociating. Our brain has learned that dissociation is the right and only way we can manage to get through trauma alive. So when we are reminded of trauma by a flashback happening, of course our brain's first to try and help the situation is dissociate. And this is normal to us, having all these intrusions all day, every day, still. 5 years into healing from these specific traumas, this is still our daily life. We're 5 whole years into being free, i.e. not being abused on a daily basis anymore, and we're 4.5 years into having treatment with a really effective treatment team, and this is still how we're doing. So as you can imagine, trying to progress in anything is quite impossible. Our main focus is on healing the traumas, and that will stay our main focus for the foreseeable future. We'd love to be able to make music on a daily basis, or even just more often. We're already so glad that with starting up this project we managed to make music more often. We'd love to do singing exercises more often, and we'd love to write songs and produce all of the time. We'd love to be able to do anything, actually, but we can't. We're still so exhausted from 2 decades of daily trauma, from surviving that most of the time we're still just trying to survive on a day-to-day basis. Most days we can't do anything that society would deem productive, and that's okay. It's okay as in I can't hate myself for it because I'm sick. It's not like we're doing this on purpose. It's not like we're multiple on purpose. It's not like any of this is done for fun. It's, okay, because my personal worth should not be determined by how productive I can be in this capitalistic hellhole of a system. And it's okay as in Switzerland has a fairly solid social security network, so I am indeed able to be disabled and still have an apartment, like a roof overhead, shelter, and access to therapy. A roof over my head and shelter is the same. I meant shelter, food, and access to therapy. And it's okay as in I need to rest and heal to actually heal the trauma and get better. But we're just so tired and exhausted and fed up with feeling like we're wasting life away. We understand that many disabled people feel like this. Society places our worth on how much we can work, how much money you can earn, and how little time is possible, and we cannot do any of that at all. Yikes! Okay, that got a lot more deep than we thought it would. But music is and always has been our passion, and we couldn't follow our passion for a while because we had to remove ourselves from potentially triggering scenarios in order to understand that things are actually really safe today. If we had still engaged with all of these triggering things, we would not ever be able to go back to a baseline of it is 2025 and we are safe. Because right now we're in the baseline of it is 2025 and we are safe. It's okay, I'm allowed to be loud, I'm allowed to make noise, I'm allowed to be seen and everything because I'm not going to get hurt anymore. But if we had stayed doing music as intensely, still going to singing lessons or still engaging in choirs, we would have probably not been able to get to this baseline of things are okay, we're safe, because we would have never realised, because all of these things are reminders of a time where things were not, in fact, okay. After years of, stepping away from singing, we're finally ready to engage with these triggering things again and try and recover from the triggers and try and get over them and try to understand that all of this is okay and fine and we're allowed to do this and we're fine, we're good, we're fine actually. It's slow going and that's frustrating. As a creative, not having a creative outlet is very frustrating. And, having patience for ourselves is difficult. We've already had so much patience for ourselves. It's been years of not doing anything, very heavy quotation marks, because we're doing so much. We're doing so much self-work and, therapy work, but in the capitalistic sense of things, we're not doing much. We know where we'd like to be mentally. We're trying to be okay with that. We're trying to be okay with just showing up and not being perfect in it. All of this is imperfect. All of this series is imperfect. If we could make it to what we think is perfect, there would be a lot more like production effort behind this, but we don't have the energy for that. And we're trying to give ourselves grace and just show up and believe that just showing up is enough. Things from us will always be slow going. Do not expect any regular content on any platform ever. But we are always going to keep making content. We're not going to be like regular with posting it. So if that's not how you roll watching content, you need a different globe to follow. We're trying to be okay with just trying. We're perfectionists. Making these videos, especially showcasing what we struggle with, and like having singing of us out there that is not perfectly like polished and good and well done is scary, but we're trying. And if we manage to upload this video, it's been successful and we've managed to face some of our fears already. Also, editing these videos and seeing like how bad our singing is for us is difficult. It's not like objectively horrible ever, but it's not, nobody hears it and goes, oh my god, that is the best thing I've ever heard. And obviously that's the kind of goal we in our head have to strive towards, because, and if you're traumatized, this might resonate with you. Things that come from me must be perfect because they're coming from me, and I'm me. Things will be so damaged already because they're coming from me. I have to make them as perfect as possible, like to make up for the fact that it's me, which is obviously a fucked up mindset. That is not true at all. I'm fine, I'm okay. Things that I make should be okay, but things are slow going. But, you know, for example, we don't hear ourselves as much anymore that we can't look in a mirror when singing. So, progress is happening. That leads us to the conclusion of this video. We called this Finding Our Voice again, not just because we physiologically want to improve our voice, but also because we want to be able to use our voice again. We lost a place. We had to withdraw from everything, including social gatherings and everything. And we lost places where we feel like our voice is heard, and we like to try to regain them. We think it's finally time, and we're finally brave enough. We'll be messy, we'll be slow, but we're trying, and we'll probably get there at some point. Things are rough, but it's not all rough. Things are going to be okay, friend. We'll continue going to therapy, we'll continue doing exercises and everything we can to try to get better, and we'll continue with this endeavor too. And that's where we end today's episode. A lot of talking, not a lot of anything else, just talking and explaining. See you next time, where we'll do singing exercises again, actually. It's been a couple episodes. But yeah, singing exercises again, and then we're also already nearly done with the season. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye!